we now face. But I do not regret my decision to end America's warfighting in Afghanistan and maintain a laser focus on our counterterrorism missions there and other parts of the world. Our mission to degrade the terrorist threat of al-Qaeda in Afghanistan and kill Osama bin Laden was a success. Our decades-long effort to overcome centuries of history and permanently change and remake Afghanistan was not, and I wrote and believed it never could be. I cannot and will not ask our troops to fight on endlessly in another country's civil war, taking casualties, suffering life-shattering injuries, leaving families broken by grief and loss. This is not in our national security interest. It is not what the American people want. It is not what our troops, who have sacrificed so much over the past 2 decades, deserve. I made a commitment to the American people when I ran for president that I would bring America's military involvement in Afghanistan to an end. While it's been hard and messy, and yes, far from perfect, I've honored that commitment.
And here we are. Romastu?
Randy, how are we doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Allow me to say I love your show. I love anyone who brings the truth, whether I like it or not. I just wanted to say, as a registered independent, President Biden made the right call.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been in that bloody country 20 years. What have we accomplished? Outside of killing Osama bin Laden, which wasn't even in the country.
Right.
It's past time to come home. And I just hate to hear all these political talking heads and right-wing Republicans who just feed the war machine, because the war machine feeds their pocket, just knocking the president for making the right call, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a tough call, and there never was a good time after the first 2 months, okay? We had
very, very true.
Yeah,
very true.
We had 2 chances to get out of there, and the first was after 2 months. The Taliban was weakened. They practically were gone. Al-Qaeda was gone. Osama bin Laden, as you now know, was gone. Mullah Omar, he was still there, but he was going to Pakistan. I mean, they were all leaving, and that was the time to get the hell out. We had another chance in 2003, but Bush and Rumsfeld and Cheney were still in command, and they didn't do it then. Obama tried to do it. He tried, but it didn't work. And then Donald Trump just said, okay, I'm going to pick a winner, and he picked the Taliban. And that's what happened. So Biden had no choice but to say, either I have to put more troops in there to beat back the Taliban because Donald Trump did it, or call it a day. And that's a very gutsy move to call it a day. But I honestly, what's going to happen there is going to be obscene. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be horrendous. First of all, there'll be a refugee crisis, a real one. The last time this happened was like in 1996 or so, when Mullah Omar came into control of the Taliban. There was always a Taliban, but the Taliban was not this Islamic, extremist, religious, misogynist, public executing group. They were not that until Mullah Omar, and that's when it took this, unbelievable turn. Do you remember, I don't know if you remember this, you remember the Bamiyan Buddhas? They were these big, beautiful Buddhas that were carved into the mountains in Bamiyan, Afghanistan, and Mullah Omar literally dynamited them, the world's largest standing Buddhas. He literally blew them up in Bamiyan province. And that's when everybody sort of kind of knew that he was a lunatic, that he was, a crazy, and that he was going to, and that's when the women were enslaved, literally. The women were enslaved. They were kept in their house. If they left, they had to wear the burqa, from head to toe. The music got banned. Remember that? I mean, all this stuff happened like in the late 90s to the early 2000s, and they got like, the right wing here, super radicalized, just like they are here. The GOP, think about the commonality between Mullah Omar's Taliban and the GOP today, okay? They both hate women enough to relegate them to, baby machines, right? They are both very intolerant of other religions. They're intolerant of other tribes. They're intolerant of, people that don't look like them. Yeah. They're uber religious, but only the way that they want the religion interpreted, like the psycho Taliban interprets Islam, which has nothing to do with Islam, because we know one of the guiding principles in both Christianity and Islam is thou shalt not kill. But in Islam, it's you cannot kill another Muslim for sure, right? And they did that and do that. They are terrorists, both the right wing here and the Taliban there, terrorists, where they will shoot up, synagogues and things like that, anything they disagree with. And now we can add that not only do the Taliban martyr their children in service to a belief system, a false belief system, and a perversion of one of the world's great religions, but so do current GOP red staters. They're martyring their children, relegating them to suffer and die of COVID now. They're both violent. They both hate modernity. They're scared of modern science, both groups. And they're world heavyweight champion propagandists. There's a lot of similarity, which is why I call Al-Qaeda the base, and the base Al-Qaeda. It's a perfect translation. Works for me. Clay in Mississippi.
Hi, Randy.
Hey.
I think that you need to be an advisor to the president, but that's not why I called. I was thinking about the starving army thing, and I was wondering about what you thought about. And I'm not trying to defend the citrus dictator in any way, but wouldn't it have been the Afghans' responsibility to feed and their armies, that kind of thing? And would that blame not more lie on them?
Yes, it is part of it, but we agreed to pay the salaries. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did. We agreed to feed them, we agreed to train them, and we agreed to pay their salaries. And none of those three things got done after Donald Trump became Donald Trump.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. But yes, I mean, obviously there's enough blame to go around, but I want you to understand how Trump was ending this. He was ending it the way he does all the time. He told you this over and over again. He wanted to defund NATO. He didn't believe in funding anything he didn't agree with, right? Everything was defund this and defund that, and and so that's what he did. He defunded, the Afghan army. Is 300,000 of them. He just stopped paying them. So, Jay in Michigan.
Yes, Randy. I had a full head of hair when we went into Afghanistan. I am now 50 years old, and I have lost most of my hair, and what I have is turning gray.
Yeah.
It's been long enough.
Yeah.
President Biden is absolutely correct.
Yeah.
If they fold it up so fast, and I know that there's nuance in understanding why they fold up, and the blame is not entirely on the Afghan people, but hey, when you face something like the Taliban and you run to the airport, instead of picking up that American-made rifle, taking off your burqa or whatever you got to do so you can see and shoot, I don't have anything to say after 20 years.
Yeah, but they didn't have any ammo. That's the problem. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Well, then they should have secured some from some other way, sold drugs, got the bullets, did what they had to do to stay free. I can't be responsible for their freedom perpetually, and that's what President Biden is saying.
I agree with you.
Otherwise, they're going to be a state of the United States.
I agree with you.
Right?
I just wanted everybody to have a full understanding of how this all was set in motion and that it was done the absolute most brutal wrong way. But yes, the end had to be achieved. It's just Biden was dealt a really bad deal. A really bad deal. 3 presidents, didn't end it. And they all could have. But the last one literally defunded it and let them starve and let them go without ammunition and left it to Biden to clean up the whole damn thing. So Biden made a decision not to put any more troops in there and to just go home.